That is what you get, indeed. First of all, I apologize. English isn't my first language. But I hope you'll understand what I want to present to you today. This is a little story from 2 years ago. I live in a very popular street where parking is difficult. There is a house with a parking space right on the street where I parked whenever I couldn't find anything else. One day I came to my car and noticed a small sheet of paper on my windshield. Obviously, the people living in that house told me not to park my car in front of their house cause it's their property. I was confused because it's literally an official marked parking spot on the street and they had their lot surrounded by a fence which my car didn't block or anything. My friend works for the city council and I asked her if that piece of the road is private property. She did some research and asked the people responsible for that matter and she said no. I was allowed to park there and it's not a private property. So I did. I parked my car there again. Of course. Next day. Piece of paper on my windshield. This time saying they would get my car towed. I ignored that. Nothing happened except more notes and my car that I just put back in their post box. I talked to the neighbors and they had a similar experience with that spot. That's probably why it was always unoccupied. The people living in the house had their own driveway, didn't need the spot, so they just didn't like it if someone parked in front of their house. One day I came to my car and noticed that someone had kicked off my side mirror. The one towards the fence. While I was busy picking up the glass from the street, the guy from the house came out and said something like, "Well, that's what you get." I was fuming. I called the police and everything but I couldn't prove anything. Okay. That was the point where my ideas kicked in. In my country you can rent parking spots to park cars there with advertisements on them. My friend's dad, the one that worked for the council, had a used car dealership and did that sort of advertising quite regularly. So I told him about what happened and literally 2 days later on that parking spot was car trailer. With a huge sign. It was 3 times taller than my car. I was so happy. Plus he replaced my broken mirror. And then my time came. I saw the house owners in their garden fuming about the advert and I approached them with, "Oh, that is what you get." The faces. They were priceless. They tried to get the trailer removed but the spot was legally rented. And you know what? It's still there. Now there is still a lack of parking spaces in my street but I think that is worth it. Yikes. Sounds like they're a bundle of fun. I'd suggest getting a dash cam. You never know where they might take up kickboxing on your poor car again. Years ago, I worked in a home for people with disabilities. It was a small house with 4 residents. And we usually had 2 to 3 staff during the day. This meant that there were people coming and going all the time. And some people had to park on the street. And, heaven forbid, we ever parked across the street anywhere close to the house directly across from us. The forbidden blue house. We called it. We'd get nasty notes and phone calls and threats. Technically, it was perfectly legal for us to park there. They couldn't do anything about it. But we wanted to be good neighbors. And so our supervisors made sure that everybody knew not to park there. I will also point out that we never had any behavioral issues with our ladies that bothered the neighbors. They were just trying to live as normal a life as they could. Blue House was just a dick. At some point in my employment, a new family moved into the house next to us. They were a super nice couple that owned a small limo party bus service. We'll call them the Brown House family. They gave our ladies free rides in limos a couple times a year. Just to make them feel special. Brown House people were total bros. One day, a new hire unknowingly parked her car across the street and brought down the full wrath of the man in the blue house. full-on swearing and screaming and insults about the insert plural form of a politically incorrect term here, living in our house. And how they should all be locked up in an institute and not living in this neighborhood with normal people. Brown house couple were out doing yard work in their front lawn and overheard this. Brown house couple then proceeded to make a point of parking directly in front of Blue House, cycling through their whole fleet of limos and buses. For almost an entire year, they stopped parking there after Blue House wrote us a full apology. And Blue House never made a complaint again. Controlling fucks. Glad you got them back. It's a bold move to vandalize someone's property because it's too close to your own property, which is completely vulnerable to vandalism as well. Wait, that advert is still up 2 years later? Damn, that is ProRevenge. Here in New York, they'd be shopping for house windows. Word. Tell them you'll consider getting the trailer moved if they send you an apology letter, video for breaking your mirror. Then if they go through with it, tell them you considered it and decided to take them to court for damages, with the evidence they so kindly provided you. Probably too late now, but a man can dream. Great story. Thanks for sharing. That's some fine pro-revenge there. Smiley face. Your friend's dad should get in contact with a strip club or adult toy store and sell them the ad. Space. This was delicious, thank you. Awesome revenge. And while I am about it, should note that for someone who speaks English as a second, or third or whatever language, your post is remarkably grammatically and spelling correct. Better than some native speakers. But WTF do I know? My second language is Spanish, and apparently since I grew up in a pretty Cuban-centric area of Florida, I speak with a very Cuban accent. So much so that Puerto Ricans and Mexicans ask me to repeat stuff all the time. Usually with a smile on their faces. I know that feel. I have someone exactly like that directly across the street from my house. When I was like 8, he threatened to beat my dad up in front of me over that spot. 10-ish years later, I parked in that same spot. Woke up to find a foot tire and a hole in my tire so big that it couldn't have been there the night before. Someone clearly punctured my tire. Unfortunately, I also didn't have any proof it was him. I brainstormed a bunch of ways I could get back at his car. Turns out this boss doesn't even have a car. He doesn't even drive, because he lost his license. OMG. That is hilarious. Your friend's dad is our type of person. To be honest, owning a car dealership has netted him countless interactions with choosing beggars. He sounds like he takes real joy and pleasure in sticking it to entitled people where possible. Definitely pro. Not only they are having it blocked for 3 years, but also the only price is broken off car mirror. Great story op. But I think this belongs in our petty revenge. Brilliant solution. That was well deserved. Joker. You get what you fucking deserve. Good story. But oh my god, I hate the idea of advert cars blocking parking spaces. Doesn't it just annoy people who can't park and put them off the product?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.